We are currently living in the loudest era of human history. On every social media feed, at every city stoplight, and in every luxury boutique, society tells us exactly what success is supposed to look like. It tells us that being rich means being seen. It tells us that if you don't wear the logo, if you don't drive the car, and if you don't broadcast your bank account to millions of strangers online, then you simply haven't made it. But while the modern world is completely obsessed with looking rich, the wealthiest individuals on the planet are playing a completely different game. A silent game. Right now, a quiet revolution is taking over high society. It's called stealth wealth. It is the art of building massive, generational riches while deliberately looking entirely average, while the middle class spends themselves into crippling debt trying to look like millionaires. The actual multimillionaires are spending millions of dollars to disappear. Think about the last time you walked into a local coffee shop or stood in line at a grocery store. The person in front of you, wearing a faded hoodie and generic sneakers, might be struggling to pay rent, or they might quietly own the entire block of buildings you are standing in. This isn't a fantasy. It is a mathematical reality. There is a psychological sickness spreading through modern economics called lifestyle creep and status anxiety. When the average person starts making more money, their immediate survival instinct is to signal that success to their peers. They lease the luxury sedan, they finance the designer handbag, and they take out a massive mortgage on a home they can barely afford. They trap themselves in a golden cage, working jobs they hate, to buy things they don't need, all to impress people they don't even like. This is what financial experts call loud money. And it is incredibly fragile. It is loud because it is insecure. It requires constant external validation because it is built entirely on cash flow that could vanish tomorrow. But stealth wealth is different. Stealth wealth operates on a fundamental truth. True wealth is what you don't see. It is the cars not bought, the clothes not flaunted, and the assets quietly compounding in the dark. To truly understand this, we have to look at how real historical wealth behaves compared to modern, artificial wealth. If you look at people who inherit old money, fortunes, that have survived for generations, you will notice a complete absence of flashiness. There are no giant gold chains, no roaring modified exhausts, and no neon clothing. Instead, there is an obsession with high-quality, unbranded minimalism. This is known as quiet luxury. The truly wealthy do not buy things to show others how much money they have. They buy things strictly for the utility, the comfort, and the longevity of the item. They will happily pay $5,000 for a bespoke, handmade wool coat that has absolutely no logo on it, while a middle-class consumer will pay $500 for a synthetic jacket just because it has a giant designer logo plastered across the chest. The difference in psychology here is profound. The middle-class consumer is using the brand to buy artificial status, while the wealthy individual already possesses the status and simply wants the quality. But why are the rich actively trying to become invisible today? Why has stealth wealth shifted from a mere preference to a serious survival strategy? The answer lies in the massive, hidden dangers of displaying your financial success in the modern world. The moment you become visibly wealthy, a target is painted on your back. The first threat comes from your immediate social circle. When friends, extended family members, and neighbors see you flaunting wealth, the dynamics of your relationships change instantly. Genuine connection gets replaced by subtle resentment, envy, and entitlement. Suddenly, you are expected to pick up every dinner bill, fund every random business idea, and provide interest-free loans that will never be paid back. If you say yes, you become an ATM. If you say no, you are labeled as selfish and arrogant. By practicing stealth wealth, you protect your peace. When everyone assumes you are just doing okay, your relationships stay authentic, rooted in who you are, not what you can provide. The second threat is systemic and legal. We live in an incredibly litigious society. If you get into a minor car accident while driving a $20,000 hatchback, the other driver will likely swap insurance information normally. But if you get into that exact same minor accident while driving a $200,000 luxury supercar, The other driver sees a lottery ticket. Suddenly, their neck hurts. They hire an aggressive billboard lawyer. And you are facing a massive lawsuit simply because your vehicle advertised your deep pockets. The visible display of wealth invites predators, scammers, and frivolous lawsuits. The invisible rich understand this perfectly. They drive highly reliable, high-end vehicles that blend completely into traffic. To the untrained eye, they look like a mid-level manager, but their bank account belongs to a corporate titan. This brings us to the core mathematical trap of the modern middle class, the illusion of the high income. Millions of people believe that if they can just land a job that pays $200,000 a year, they will finally be rich. But income is not wealth. Wealth is what you keep, not what you spend. Imagine two different people. Person A is a corporate lawyer making $300,000 a year. They live in a massive suburban home with a staggering mortgage, drive a leased German sports car with a $1,500 monthly payment, wear pristine designer clothes, and send their kids to elite private schools. To the outside world, Person A is the absolute definition of success. But behind closed doors, Person A is living paycheck to paycheck. If their firm has one bad quarter or if they get laid off, their entire empire collapses within 30 days. They are trapped on a high-stakes financial hamster wheel. Now look at Person B. They own a local commercial plumbing or logistics business. They make $150,000 a year, exactly half of what the lawyer makes. But Person B lives in a modest, paid-off 3-bedroom home in an average neighborhood. They drive a 6-year-old pickup truck that runs perfectly. They wear simple, durable clothing from basic retail stores. Because their expenses are incredibly low, they quietly funnel $50,000 every single year straight into index funds, real estate, and income-producing assets. To the outside world, Person B looks like an ordinary, working-class citizen. But in reality, Person B has a net worth of $2 million, zero debt, and decades of financial freedom locked away. Person B is wealthy. Person A is just high income and heavily leveraged. So, how do you break out of this status trap and start building a stealth wealth empire of your own? It requires a complete rewiring of your psychological relationship with money, broken down into 4 strict rules. Rule number 1, play for freedom, not for admiration. The greatest asset money can ever buy you is control over your time. It is the ability to wake up in the morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. It is the security of knowing that if your boss insults you, you can walk out the door and never look back because you have years of living expenses sitting in the bank. When you spend your money to buy status symbols like luxury cars or flashy watches, you are literally trading your future freedom for a temporary hit of dopamine and a few seconds of admiration from strangers. Every time you resist the urge to buy something flashy, you are buying a piece of your independence back. Rule number 2, decouple your self-worth from your net worth. The reason people blast their success on social media is because they are seeking external validation to fill an internal void. They need the world to see them as rich because, deep down, they fear that without the money, they are nothing. The stealth wealth practitioner has achieved internal security. They know exactly who they are, what they are worth, and what they have accomplished. They don't need a teenager on the street or an old high school classmate to validate their success. Silence is the ultimate flex of confidence. Rule number 3, hide your assets, not your character. Practicing stealth wealth doesn't mean you have to live like a miserable miser or refuse to enjoy your life. It simply means you keep your financial details entirely private. You can travel to beautiful destinations, eat incredible food, and invest heavily in your health and education. But you don't need to post the first-class boarding pass on your Instagram story. You don't need to brag about the price tag of your hotel room. Enjoy the luxury for the experience itself, not for the spectacle of showing others that you can afford it. Rule number 4, invest in compounding obscurity. Redirect the funds that the average person wastes on lifestyle inflation directly into invisible wealth-building vehicles. When you get a raise, a bonus, or a massive payout from a business venture, do not celebrate by changing your zip code or your car keys. Keep your baseline. lifestyle completely steady and dump, that excess capital into broad market index funds, automated retirement accounts, or low-key real estate investments. These assets don't sit in your driveway making noise for the neighbors to see. They sit quietly on a digital ledger, completely invisible to the world, working for you 24 hours a day, compounding over time until your money makes more money than your day job ever could. As the global economy becomes increasingly volatile and unpredictable, the divide between those who look rich and those who are rich will only widen. The flashy, over-leveraged lifestyle of loud money is built on a foundation of sand, vulnerable to the slightest economic shift. But the quiet, unshakable empire of stealth wealth is built on solid rock. Stop trying to convince the world that you've made it. Stop letting corporate marketing departments trick you into spending your hard-earned freedom on cheap status symbols. Build your fortune in the dark. Let them underestimate you. Let them think you are ordinary. Because while they are busy spending their lives trying to look like royalty, you will quietly be building an invisible kingdom of absolute freedom, security, and peace. Remember, loud money talks, but silent wealth commands. Keep your head down, keep your numbers private, and build a life that is rich in reality, not just in appearance.